Welcome back, welcome in. Today's a very special video. AK has graciously sent us an early copy, a sneak preview of their new Quick Gen paint line. 36 of them, plus 2 brushes in the set. And this is their equivalent to Citadel's contrast paints. If you're not familiar, they are the main color plus wash combo paints that are meant to be quick drying. If you have an army to paint this weekend and you feel like you're running out of time, contrast paints are the perfect thing, meant to be a one and done sort of thing per surface. At least that's what initially they were intended for. Obviously time has evolved all things, and paint is no exception. So plenty of people have not been using slap chop techniques in conjunction with contrast, but that's besides the point. Today we'll be previewing this. Hopefully it's just as good as their predecessors, but we'll find out, shall we? I have a good feeling about this. Very good. Alright, so here we are. Quickly open it. Ooh, very nicely arranged. Let's flip that. There we go. And yeah, that's nice. So 36 paints. This is available on pre-order now. Roughly arriving in our shelves in July, though it's probably going to be sold out, this set in particular. But I heard the individual paints will be released at that time as well, or around that time. This is the complimentary, I think, the free brochure, so it does tell you straight up it is their contrast paint equivalent. It's highlighted or contrasted. Anyway, so yeah, let's just give it a quick breakdown here. So they're droppers, so hooray for that. 80 paints total, 64 generic, wargaming kind of, directed towards wargamers. 6 metallic paints, which is a lot less than Army Painters. I think 12 initial offerings. 9 military, which is also a little bit less than I was expecting. I was expecting less than the normal wargaming stuff, but 9 is not a lot. And then 1 medium. So that's their contrast medium equivalent. So if you want to thin it with something nicer than water, at least smoother, this is probably your best bet. Their version of it. So yeah. That's a breakdown of it. Actually, let's just show this to you real quick. Pause if you want to see, but this is the initial paints that they're going to be offering as a whole in the line. Again, pause if you want to see. Right, and then, ooh, that's nice. That's the 60 ml. This is the 17, I believe. Very nice. Hopefully you haven't been taking a shot every time I say the word nice, because I've said it a lot so far. But so we're moving on to our demo section now. But before we do that, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on our social media accounts. We're about to hit 10K, or we're kind of close. We're 3K away on our YouTube. So hit the subscribe button, click that notification icon, the bell. So yeah, thank you. So what are the parameters of the test? Well, the parameters are, we will be using curved surfaces such as the back of these disposable spoons that are unprimed, the half of this styrene sheet that is also unprimed, and then to make it fair, I primed the other half with, you can't really, it's hard to tell, but it's white primer. And then the back of these other 3 spoons with 1 coat of white primer as well. And the reason why I'm using white is because, well, this white in particular, is you can't really get the most out of your contrast paints if you don't use white primer. As for them to come out as advertised, like exactly like this, you need white primer. It's actually hilarious how many complaints there are. 5 years ago when contrast was new, I'll also be using this, by the way. This is a grayish white, but it should be enough. Anyway, the amount of complaints in Games Workshop's demo videos and reviews for other third-party YouTubers, the amount of complaints, because they're like, it's too dark, they messed it up. Turns out no one was using white primer. Despite all the Games Workshop advertising having white primer on all the demos. Everyone was just using gray and black. Anyway, so yeah, that's why. As a quick aside, these bottles actually have a lot more to their labels than normal. There's an intensity meter, basically letting you know if the paint, pigment-wise, is quite intense or not. So it should help you with modulating your thinners more carefully. For this demo, I will be using the included brushes. So this one is the AK Synthetic Round Number 1. So let's shake it up. This is the Ice Blue Low Intensity. So we'll see. This is the unprimed side. This is primed. It's hard to tell, but just a little bit. We'll swirl it around, see how smooth it is, and see how it adheres to an unprimed surface. Oh, what? Let's do it like this. Okay, it is quite frosty, the color. Oh, yeah. You know, it says low intensity, but this is quite intense. It isn't thin, though, so that's probably why. And if you know anything about contrast, you shouldn't really do it like this, like swirl it around. It kind of breaks the surface tension and it ruins the paint. So when you're doing an initial pass on your Mini with contrast, just do an upward motion like that and just leave it till it dries, and then you move on to the next layer, reapplying. You don't do this like you normally would. But smoothness wise, it is incredibly smooth. Oh yeah, wow. The surface tension kind of, it isn't breaking all too easily. Typically if it breaks, it leaves a mark, meaning there's some sort of retarder agent working in the mix here, slowing down the drying process. Contrast is one of the quickest drying acrylic paints. It probably is the quickest drying. So this is nice. Even on an unprimed surface, it isn't having too difficult of a time. Maybe that's the reason why it's drying so slowly, having a hard time gripping onto the surface and drying, but who knows. So we'll test it on the primed side. So just one drop, like the other one. Oh yeah, it was already smooth to begin with, but with a primed surface like this, you can kind of, despite, you know, it's still really smooth. What I'm trying to say. It is styrene though, so it was an ultra smooth surface to begin with, so applying primer will make it a little bit rougher, but even then, it's still so smooth. Oh yeah, no problems whatsoever. So initial thoughts on the smoothness of it. This is without a doubt the smoothest iteration of contrast, period, currently so far. So that would include Games Workshop's own contrast paints, Army Painter's speed paints, and Vallejo's express paints. This is the smoothest, without a doubt. At least on a flat surface like this. So, unprimed, primed. It dried much faster unprimed. That's also what I noticed. Oh yeah, it's dried immediately. It's only been half the time essentially, and yeah, you can see it. It started marking a little bit. Yeah, started marking a little bit right there when I swished it around. Yeah, you can see it a little bit more. So it dried really fast when it is a primed surface. So I was correct in my hypothesis. So it is still quick drying. So be aware of that. It is, but despite that, incredibly smooth. The next paint we're going to be trying is gold, and little aside here, it doesn't have the intensity meter or bar in the metallic set, so we don't know what intensity it is, but we can assume it is quite intense. But it also looks very similar to Retributor Gold, which for the longest time has really just been a unique Games Workshop color, but we'll see. Because if it is, it changes everything. So one drop on the primed, and then, well, let's do the primed surface first. We'll swirl it around. Wow, wait a minute. Wait. This may just be Retributor armor. I'm not joking. For those of you who are unaware, Retributor armor is kind of like an old style gold that's typically used for the Adeptus Custodes. So whenever you want an antique looking royal gold almost, it's the paint you would use. But Games Workshop, up until now I guess, has always had a monopoly on a gold like that. But this looks insane. Probably my new favorite gold. Because even with Retributor armor, you may not get this kind of gold until you use a red wash on or a flesh wash like Reikland Flesh Shade, which is what everyone does. Or yeah, brown wash, right? But yeah, this is nice. So again, the smoothness is there. The metallic flecks don't really interfere with how smooth the paint is. Again, something happened in the formulation here that makes it that smooth. Something about these new gen paints. So I don't know if you remember 3 months ago or something, I demoed Tooth and Coats, the new line Wave 2. That was so smooth too. What's wrong with, not what's wrong, I'm glad that they're upgrading their paints, but something is up. They're massively upping their game, every single one of them. It's going to be a challenge, but this is the unprimed curved surface. That is the disposable spoon. Acrylics aren't really meant to do this. But despite that, it's actually sticking. Hey, this is not bad. Now, obviously, I could have used a better spoon, a better brush. In fact, I will do just that. Give me one sec. Using the other included brush, this is synthetic flat, number 2. We will be applying the gold onto the other unprimed surface. Oh shit! How to? Did you see that? It was still really hard. But yeah, same difference. And it really does look like not Reikland, Retributor armor with Reikland Flesh Shade. You know, that finish on the Custodes, it looks like that. It's insane. It's uncanny. And then we'll apply it to a primed version of it. It is a little rougher. The curved surface is stretching the limits of what this paint can do. It's not as smooth as the Tooth and Coats one, but it doesn't need to be. It just needs to be smooth enough. And looking at it, it definitely struggled on the unprimed curved surface more. But overall, it stuck to it, and it stuck. I'm more than impressed. But you can tell the one on the right is a lot smoother compared to the left. The blue isn't any different. Oh, I still have lingering gold paint on it. Ah, it's alright. We're here to judge the smoothest. This one is primed, by the way. This is the primed surface. Not bad. So overall, this is an unprimed... Oh, sorry, this is the primed spoon. This is the ice blue, and not bad. There's a little bit of yellow there because I didn't fully clean out the brush. My bad, but yeah. Very nice. Again, it isn't as smooth as Tooth and Coats, but it doesn't have to be, because its job is to get into the crevices, and it's doing that wonderfully. So with a primed surface, it can definitely do that. There's a little bit more work time and play time even on a primed surface because of their formula. This is strange. I'm not used to this, and I'm not complaining, by the way. They've definitely upped their game in terms of consistency. This is the best formula for contrast. Citadel does dry a little too fast. Same with Vallejo. Army Painter is okay with drying, but yeah. Well done. Well done, AK. So I will be painting this gold dragon wormling with, you guessed it, gold. So here we go. This is unthinned, by the way. And as far as I'm aware, the entire wormling is gold. So we're just gonna apply it as a first coat. Despite this being its thickest state, and applying it onto an actual mini, a textured surface, this is still going on extremely smoothly. Take a shot every time I say the word smoothly, or smooth. Yeah. Nice. They did something here. There's some maybe witchcraft happening here in Spain, where they make these paints. Who knows? Not actually sure, but this is nice. I'm a big fan. Big fan. This is the Dragon Mini's pile of gold, and even with its incredibly bumpy surface, it's applying really smoothly. Oh yeah, this is nice. What I'm painting here is the dragon flame attack. So we're gonna be painting this with one coat of what color is this? Space yellow. And then we're gonna be doing a gradient with orange on top, and then kind of a darker red at the outside where it cools, right? Because that's just how fire is. It's brighter at the center. All right, it's already quite yellow, and I like that. There's a buildup of yellow here closer to the mouth where it's gonna be the hottest. So while that's still wet, I'm gonna be using the orange, a little bit of wet blending, putting that near the center. Let's go a little stronger in the middle. Right. Yeah, this is nice. And while those two paints are wet, I will be using Infernal Red near the tips. Again, a little wet blending. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is nice. And look at that capillary action there. Oh yeah, nice. So, what do I think of the paint now that it's dry? Honestly, it's so nice. There's something in the water and in the formula that they used. This is incredible. Now, there are some spots, but it's just a demo. Who cares, right? That's not the important part. The important part is how well the paint went on. And honestly, the paint went on spectacularly. Very smooth. Again, take a shot. Responsibly, of course. And yeah, this is something to behold. Now, I will say, at least for the set, it is on the pricier side. Definitely same kind of ballpark as the bigger... was it Army Painter? I think it was the Army Painter set that was a little bit pricier, but those are discontinued, at least for our store anyway. So this, at least for a paint set, might be our only option, because there's 36 in here plus brushes, so basically a third of the paint line is here. Yeah, this is nice. And before I sign off real quick here, because of how smoothly the paint went on, and how there's an increased work time, you can easily do wet blending with these contrast paints. No medium required. In fact, that's kind of like the downside of the set itself. There is no included contrast medium. You think there would be, but there isn't, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, a little bit of a downside, but and I was worried about that, but the paints doesn't seem to need it. So yeah, incredible. Incredible. Well done, AK. Well, that's it for me today. And by the way, before I go, the paint's dried a little bit, semi-gloss, I think. Satin is the best word to describe it. But anyway, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching this little demo. This is available for pre-order now. And yeah, go on right ahead. Hopefully it isn't limited quantities, but I have a feeling that it is. And the rest of the line will be available roughly at the same time this arrives in our store. Angelo gave me a quick thing. He said around July, mid-July probably. So no firm ETA, but around that time. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.